so last lesson we spent talking about getting used to our right hand on the ukulele. And the main two things were we talked about strumming and we also talked about picking as well. So if you haven't seen that lesson, go back to our right hand lesson. If not, then today we're going to talk about our other hand, our left hand. Okay, so you'll find that your left hand spends primarily most of its time around the neck. Sorry, I've got a little bit of glare off my ukulele because it's very sunny. Terrible things. Right, so our left hand. Actually, we have, this is our neck, and you'll see all these metal lines down here. So if you don't know these guys already, they are called frets. Okay, so actually when it comes to pushing down with your left hand, we want to be not on the metal line. You get a horrible sound otherwise. Not quite a sound. Almost, a little bit, but not quite. Whereas if I move slightly above that line, so I'm quite clearly, as you can see in the box, nice note on the line, just above, perfect. Too high, I get a little bit of a buzz. So actually, the place where we want to always press is just above that metal line, the fret. Nice, clear sound, okay? So, first of all, we're just going to practice going across each string, string 1, string 2, string 3, and string 4, and just practice pushing them down, because as you probably realised, each string is slightly different in thickness, okay? And that's due to what pitch they are. So for example, your second string is the lowest string, okay? Whereas our fourth string is actually the high string. So that means he will be much thinner than our second string. Okay, so for the moment, we're just going to practice pushing down on our first fret, okay? We're going to use our first finger on our right hand, left hand, sorry. I know my right and left. We're just going to push down and we're going to be, remember, just above that metal line, okay? So you can either use your thumb to play each of these strings, or you can use the pattern that we talked about previously, where we're going to use finger 1, finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, okay? So I don't mind for this because actually it's primarily to do the left hand rather than Mr. Right hand, okay? So if we just practice pushing down just on the first fret first of all, okay? So this block here, fret number 1. So just above the line, and then we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can hear, I've got a nice clear note. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm on the line, so that's a squeaky sound, it's called muted, okay? So that's a muted note. That means we're actually properly on the line too far over. And if we're too far up the top of the fret, we get quite a lot of buzzing. Hear that? So, place always we want to be just above that fret line. So that was string number 1. So now we're going to repeat the process on string number 2. Still on the first fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if your note is really not, if you're getting sort of a sound, then unfortunately you've got to show off your muscles and you've got to push harder. Okay, so it's always either, if we get a slightly muted sound, we're not in the right place on the fret. So first of all, if you're not on the line, okay, I'm just above the line, I'm not at the top. If you're in the right place but still getting this muted sound, you've got to push harder. Sorry. There we go. It will be worth it, and your fingers actually get used to it very quickly, okay? A nice clear note from that. So we're going to do the same for string number 3, sorry, now. So again, first fret. Again, nice clear note. Make sure if you haven't, you're either in the wrong place on the fret, so not too high and not on the line, or you're just not pushing down hard enough. Right, and then finally, we hit our fourth string. Okay, so that is what our left hand is going to be doing on the fretboard, okay? So that's how you get it. You can see the right hand actually triggers the notes. Without it, I could hold that, nothing happens. Whereas if I play the note with my right hand, there it is. So it's two-handed job. Okay, right. So that was picking our notes. That was on our first fret, okay, which is that first block across there. So our second block across there is our second fret, okay? That's our second fret. And then the next fret, third fret, fourth fret, etc., etc. And we get to fifth fret. So you'll notice that I've got a dot, and a dot. So on your fretboard, because once we get past the fifth fret, counting is hard. So we have these dots as almost reference points. So they're not on every single ukulele, and they do differ sometimes. Sometimes you get one on the third fret like you do on a guitar. So you just have to double check. But so you can see here, this is my fifth fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I go up, the next dot is my seventh fret. And then the next guy up is my 10th fret. Okay, so that's my 10th fret all the way up there. So those dots on the front are really good for you guys. You can see what I'm doing. I've got to reach over and see what I'm doing. Not great. So actually, you can see those little dots there. I've got a dot on the 5th fret. I've got a dot on the 7th fret. And I've got a dot on the 10th fret. I also have one on the 12th, but that's quite high for the moment. So these dots are really easy to see when you're looking down at ukulele. Okay. Because 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, quite easy to find. Whereas that 5th fret and anything past it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't want to be sat there counting, okay? So we want to use reference points. So that 5th fret is a really good one to get used to because you know, 5th fret, if I have to find the 8th fret, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or even use your 7th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. So they're there to stop us from having to count all the way over, okay? Right, so that's it really. That is all to do with our fretting hand, okay? And to do with pushing down those. Every single fret is the same. You still want to be pushing just slightly above that line. Again, if I make my way to the top of the fret, buzzy, not great. If I play on the line, muted. If I play just above the line, perfect clarity. Okay, they're really fussy, but as long as you remember just above the line, you'll always get the perfect note. Okay, right, so that was, as I said before, when we play one string at a time, you're playing a note. Okay, it doesn't matter what string, and it doesn't matter where on the fretboard. Those are notes, okay? So notes are generally used for melodies or arpeggios, which we'll look at coming through. It sounds like a big scary word. I promise it's not. It sounds really cool saying it though. Arpeggio. So what we now want to talk about is actually pushing down on our fretboard and strumming all of our strings, because there we have a chord, okay? So where I'm at the moment, I'm on my 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm on my 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3. 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so make sure it's just above that fret line. Big strum with your thumb. Doesn't he sound lovely? That's a C major chord, okay? Oh, a C major chord, and again. Fantastic, okay? So, the problem with playing chords, because strumming is so fast that actually sometimes you might not be pushing down quite hard enough or not in the right place, but because the other strings are all going at the same time, they might mask that one string. So what we like to do when practicing our chords is we like to give it a big strum, but also what we like to do is pick it one string at a time, okay? So this is known as an arpeggio. Arpeggio is a fancy word for playing a chord, but you play it one string at a time. So I'm going to stick to my right hand method here, which is string 1, finger 1, string 2, finger 1, string 3, finger 2, and then string 4, finger 3. So as you can hear, I've got a nice clean note there, which is great, which means I'm picking hard enough. So again, if we listen to all those, know you're playing your chord correctly. Okay, so that is on our 3rd fret, 4th string, and that's a C major. So we're going to move down 1 fret. Okay, so this is where it gets confusing, because down means that way, right? No. Afraid not. When we say down on a stringed instrument, we actually revert to pitch. So down means lower. And what I mean by that is you're going and then you go so you actually move a note down. That was my mouse singing. Hope you enjoyed it. So by going down, we're going down in pitch, which actually ends up as an up movement on the instrument. Okay, so it can seem confusing at first, but whenever people revert to going down a fret, they mean from 3rd fret, for example, going to the 2nd fret. Going down. That's what they mean. So we just had a C major, so we're going to go down 1 fret, so the 2nd fret. There we go. So if I strum this chord, you can hear a clear difference there. Again, if we can't quite hear that difference, we've got to make sure this finger is pushing hard enough. So we're going to arpeggiate the chord again. So here we go. String 1, easy. String 2, lovely. String 3, fine. String 4, cool, fantastic. So, because that's the only one we're pushing down, we need to make sure he's nice and clear. And again, if he's not, make sure your finger position is just above that line. If it is, and you're still getting a croaky sound, you've got to push harder. I'm sorry. Right, so, that chord there, that's known as a C major 7, okay? What a wonderful sound he is. So if we go up 1 fret, C major chord. If we go down a fret, C major 7 chord. Okay, so 3rd fret, C major. Go down a fret, C major 7. Right, we're going to go down 1 more fret, which takes us to the 1st fret, 4th string. Oh, can you hear that? So that chord is a C7. And again, if we're not quite getting that result, we want to just make sure we arpeggiate the chord. String 1, string 2, string 3, string 4. Okay, so the 1st fret, because it's at the top of the neck, at the bottom of the neck, sorry, is unfortunately the hardest to push down because tension's really hard there. So you'll find the 1st fret is going to give you the most grief, unfortunately, okay? So if you're not quite getting that C7 note, but you're getting the C major 7 and the C major, then well done, you're doing a really good job, but the C, just on that 1st fret, takes that extra bit of pressure to push down, okay? So again, arpeggiate it, string 1, string 2, string 3, string 4. There. So that's our C major 7 chord. So let's go through all the chords we've just played. So I started on string 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pushing down, make sure my fingers are properly in position, thumb, strum, C major chord, fantastic. So now I'm going to move down 1 fret, remember, so that's going that way in the ukulele, C major 7. Lovely sound. And then I'm going to move 1 more fret down, and that is our C7. Okay? So remember, the main things, making sure we are slightly above that fret line. That is the most important thing. So if I said to you, we need to go to the 3rd fret and fret it, 1, 2, 3, just above the line. Nice, clean note. Okay? So do me a favor, just practice going between those chords, arpeggiating it, making sure it's really nice. Practice those guys for me. Next time we're going to be looking at more chords and also how to recognize them written down, because at the moment I'm telling you what to do. That's perfect. If you can follow my directions, you can follow anybody's directions, which is great. But next time it's all about when they're written down using something called chord boxes. So that means that when I give you information on paper, you can read it and go, aha, this is how I put the chord together. Or if you go on the internet and find chords yourself, you can look at them, or through books, whatever. You can figure them out for yourselves and you don't need anybody else's help. Right, enjoy those chords and we'll speak soon. Goodbye.